I'd like to call this special meeting executive session to order on September 11th, 2024 at 4:46 PM. Roll call, please.
Mayor Donald Hewitt,
Here.
Margaret Morales,
Present.
Here.
Councilwoman Zakia Acosta,
Present.
Councilmember Ray Shelton,
Here. Present.
Councilmember Richard Acosta.
Present.
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 I'd like to call this special. Thank you. Item number 3, persons wishing to address the council in writing or verbally on any item not on the agenda. Do you have any 6 PM? This meeting, roll call, please.
May I please meet you?
Here.
Present.
Here. I hope everybody.
I didn't hear anything.
Not just me. Okay, item number 4, discussion decision to call for and conduct an executive session. Item A, under the authority of ARS 38-431.03 subsections A 3, 4, and 7 to consider its position, instruct its representatives, and obtain legal advice regarding the possible purchase or lease of real property with parcel number 410-12-035 located off of Highway 80 adjacent to the City of Douglas Golf Course. And B, under the authority of ARS 38-431.03 subsections A 3, 4, and 7 to consider its position, instruct its representatives, and obtain legal advice regarding the possible purchase, lease, or transfer of real property with parcel number 409-37-004 located at International Road between A Avenue and Dolores Avenue. May I have a motion to enter executive session?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Schultz.
I recommend we go into executive session to discuss said matters.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shelton, second by Mrs. Morales to enter into executive session. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by nay? The ayes have it. We'll go into executive session at 4:48.
That is.
Okay.
And I graduated.
May I have a motion to adjourn executive session?
Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Morales, is
I move to adjourn executive session.
there a second?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Morales, second by Mr. Montaño to adjourn the executive session. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by nay? The ayes have it. We stand adjourned at 5:39. Item number 5, executive session update. Item A regarding real property located off Highway 80 adjacent to Douglas Golf Course. We've instructed staff to pursue securing that property for future city use. And item B regarding real property located at International Road between A Avenue and Dolores Avenue. We've instructed staff to pursue the donation of this property to the city. Item number 6, adjournment. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Ms. Morales.
I move to adjourn our executive session meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Morales, second by Mr. Montaño to enjoy it. Not enjoy it.
Enjoy that.
We didn't enjoy it at all, but to adjourn our special meeting executive session. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by nay? The ayes have it. We stand adjourned at 5:41.
Mr. Mayor, it's time.
I'd like to call this special meeting public hearing to order September 11th, 2024 at 5:45 PM. Roll call, please.
Mayor Donald Hewish,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tempore Margaret Morales,
Present.
Councilmember Jose Montaño,
Here.
Councilmember Tania Acosta,
Present.
Councilmember Ray Shelton,
Present.
Councilmember Michael Valdenegro,
Present.
Councilmember Richard Acosta,
Present.
City Manager Honor Kiko,
Present.
City Attorney Dennis Fitzgibbon,
Present.
City Treasurer Luis Pedrosa.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 3, persons wishing to address the council in writing and verbally on any item not on the agenda. Do we have anyone for this meeting?
We do not, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Item number 4, discussing decision on CDBG Caper public hearing. Ms. Gonzalez, do you have anything to brief us on with that?
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. The purpose of the CAPER is to report the outcomes of the use of Community Development Block Grant funding for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2024. The report was made available to comply with regulations for a 15-day public review and comment period beginning August 26th, 2024 and ending September 10th, 2024. We did not receive any comments during that time frame. And tonight, we're allowing the public the opportunity to comment.
Thank you very much. We'll open the public hearing for any council or public input. Last call for anyone who would like to comment on the CDBG caper for this past year. Hearing none, item number 5, adjournment. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn?
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shelton, second by Mr. Baldanegro to adjourn our public hearing. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by nay? The ayes have it. We stand adjourned at 5:50 PM.
I'm wondering.
Mr. Mayor, it's time.
I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Douglas City Council to order for September 2024 at 6 p.m. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and read as Bishop Adam Brake of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints offers our invocation. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bishop Brake, please.
Our Father in heaven, we are so grateful to be gathered here as citizens of the city of Douglas this evening. We ask thee, Father, to bless us this evening with peace, with joy, with love. Help us to remember those whose lives were lost due to the tragedies of September 11, 2001. Father, we ask thee to bless our first responders as they face challenges every day, that they can be able to stand tall and show that same bravery we saw many Americans show that day. We ask thee, Father, to help us to always remember what hatred can do to this world, and more importantly, to remember what love, kindness, and compassion can do. We ask thee, Father, to bless the leaders of this city, bless them with the compassion to do the things that they need to do to be wise stewards of the resources they've been given, that they may be able to serve every resident of this wonderful city in which we are. Father, please continue to sustain them and sustain all people in this city. And we say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Bishop Brake. Could I ask you to remain standing for a moment of silence in regards to September 11, 2001, for all those that lost their life that day and subsequently lost their lives as a result of that. Thank you very much. Item number 4, roll call, please.
Mayor Donald Hewitt,
Here.
Mayor Potempo Morales,
Present.
Councilmember Jose Montaño,
Here.
Councilmember Danny Acosta, present, Councilmember Ray Shelton,
Present.
Councilmember Michael Morales,
Present.
Councilmember Richard Acosta,
Present.
City Manager
Present.
City Attorney
Present.
Thank you. Item number 5, reading of proclamations. Item A, Cochise College 60th anniversary. I have to put this on first. A proclamation. Whereas Cochise College was established in 1961 by a vote of Cochise County citizens and opened its doors to students on September 21st, 1964, as one of the first community colleges in Arizona. And whereas for the past 60 years, Cochise College has been a pillar of academic excellence, offering a diverse range of programs that have empowered students to achieve their educational, career, and personal goals. And whereas over the course of half of a century, Cochise College has served as a resource for local employers by awarding thousands of degrees and certificates to students in Cochise County and beyond. And whereas Cochise College has played a pivotal role in the development of the workforce and the economic growth of Douglas and surrounding communities by providing skilled professionals in various fields, including healthcare, technology, business, and the arts. And whereas Cochise College has enriched the culture and social fabric of our community through its arts programs, public events, and ongoing educational opportunities, making it a cornerstone of cultural and intellectual life in Douglas. And whereas this year, Cochise College celebrates 6 decades of providing accessible educational opportunities that are responsive to the diverse population and lead to constructive citizenship meaningful careers, and lifelong learning. And whereas as we celebrate this 60th anniversary, we recognize the dedication and contributions of the faculty, staff, administrators, students, alumni, and community supporters who have made Cochise College a respected and cherished institution. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Donald C. Hewish, Mayor, and on behalf of the city of Douglas, Arizona, do hereby proclaim and proudly join in celebrating September 19th, 2024 as the 60th anniversary of Cochise College, and call upon the citizens of Douglas to join in celebrating this milestone and supporting the ongoing mission of Cochise College to educate and inspire future generations. Thank you, Cochise College. Also like to, if it's okay, Mr. Villarreal, invite everyone to a celebration of the Founder's Day on September 19th out at the Douglas Campus Student Union from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Please come out and enjoy a wonderful time out there, and it will reminisce about attending out there. At a show of hands, how many attended Cochise College? Yeah, look at that. That's why Cochise College. Item number B, Hispanic Heritage Month. Whereas for more than a century, the city of Douglas has embraced culture interwoven with the Mexican culture. And whereas the Hispanic community is a dynamic, valued part of our city and a vital contributor to our economy with an entrepreneurial spirit, a strong work ethic, and an unwavering belief in the American dream. And whereas Hispanic culture shapes the city of Douglas community and influences our art, literature, music, food, faith, family values, thereby enriching our people. And whereas the purpose of Hispanic Heritage Month is to recognize the countless contributions of people of Hispanic heritage to the United States of America. Many people of Hispanic heritage serve as our civic leaders, politicians, educators, innovators, healthcare professionals, first responders, scientists, athletes, artists, religious leaders, and more. And whereas Hispanic heritage is interwoven into the city of Douglas and reflects the beautiful array of a distinct culture in our community. Now therefore be resolved that I, Donald C. Hewish, Mayor, and on behalf of the city of Douglas, Arizona, do hereby proclaim September 15th through October 15th as Hispanic Heritage Month, Mes de la Herencia Hispana, and call upon the citizens of Douglas to celebrate the talents, culture, and spirit of Hispanic heritage. And that's Douglas. I'd also like to take the opportunity to invite everyone to Energize Douglas this Friday. At when are we starting?
At 6.
6? Wonderful. Wonderful. So Mr. Shelton and I, we need to get our rest that afternoon.
I know.
So we can make sure we're there all day. Thank you. Item number 6, persons wishing to address the council in writing or verbally on any item not on the agenda. Sandra, do we have anyone this evening?
We do not, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Item number 7, discussion decision on approval of a consent agenda item. Item A, expenditures for the month of August 2024, totaling $3,768,330.80. Item B, meeting minutes for August 6th and August 14, 2024. And item C, contract award to Shade and Net for a shade structure at Raul Castro Park. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Ms. Morales.
I move that mayor and council approve the consent agenda items as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Morales, second by Mr. Valdenegro to approve the consent agenda items as presented. Any questions or discussion from the council? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Montaño.
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta. Yes. Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 8, discussion decision on approvals. Item A, second reading of ordinance number 24-1193, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, adopting Title 18 Historic Preservation by reference to and add Title 18 to the City of Douglas Municipal Code, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof. Mr. Tebow, please.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. We have our second reading, which I believe skipped one of our regular meetings due to the review of kind of one final review through our state historic preservation office to make sure we are aligned to take next steps to our CLG process, which is the credential we've been seeking as a result of this preservation program. Mr. Damian Doram is available to guide the change. You do have a red line version. I can tell you that there have been a few minor changes, nothing really substantive, but Mr. Doram will outline what those are and kind of set the tone for next steps towards our final credential of CLG. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Doterman, please.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. So there was a few modifications made, very minimal. One of the changes was we added archaeological properties to the purpose of Title 18. It wasn't there previously. They were added since we anticipate Douglas to grow a little bit more and might run into some archaeological sites. We just want to make sure those are protected under this title. The other change under page 4, Article 3, the powers and duties of the Historic Preservation Commission. We removed them as the appeal board for review of certificates of appropriateness and demolition requests. And I'll talk about where the appeals process went to a little bit later. Under Article 4, nominations and designations of historic properties, we included under the application for historic preservation district overlays to include a petition of approval to confirm concurrence of majority of property owners within that district. So if it's 50+1, I left that up into interpretation. So if the Historic Preservation Commission wants to make it 50% or 51%, they can do that. And that's just so that not one person can designate a whole district, because there are some consequences to that. They would have to be entitled to design review. So we didn't want that to be just one person being able to do that. It's not a change. And then under appeals on page 11, so we took the appeals process away from the Historic Preservation Commission and placed it upon mayor and council to hear appeals on matters of that include certificate of appropriateness and certificates of no effect and demolitions. There are some regulations that come with that. When a decision's made, whoever the aggrieved person is would have 15 working days to appeal to the council, and they'll be submitted in writing to the city clerk's office. At that point, council shall hear the appeal, and it'll be up to mayor and council to overrule the Historic Preservation Commission or keep their initial decision. And that's all the modifications that we make to Title 18. I'm open to any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Doterman. May I have a motion regarding the second reading?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please.
I move that the mayor and council approve the second reading ordinance 24-1193 by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Acosta, second by Mrs. Acosta to approve the second reading of ordinance 24-1193 by number and title only. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Simon?
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta?
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton?
Yes.
Yes.
Acosta?
Yes.
Travis?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, motion carries. Item number 8B, discussing decision on second reading of ordinance number 24-1196. An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona. Amending the planning and zoning code, article 15, section 1502, defined terms, article 5, section 501.7, property development standards, and section 516, innovative community overlays, and to add a new section 326 in Article 3, tiny homes and tiny home parks, to add and clarify zoning requirements as they apply to tiny homes and tiny home parks, and to provide for minimum building sizes for principal uses in residential zoning of the Planning and Zoning Code, Article 5, Section 501.7, as set forth in Exhibit A, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof. Welcome back, Ms. McLaughlin. Please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having me. This is a tiny houses amendment to the city zoning code. This slide provides a quick This slide provides a quick summation of the zoning text amendment. It started as a building code amendment related to tiny houses. During adoption of that ordinance, the commission and council recommended additional zoning changes, which are addressed by this ordinance. Here is an overview of what is included. The first edition are definitions for tiny homes and tiny home parks. In addition, in order to properly regulate use, it's important to define what it is within the regulations. The second edition is a new section of zoning, which includes requirements of permitting, locations of use, and an approval process, which can either be administrative or non-administrative. There are also design standards for tiny home parks. Finally, there was an addition of minimum building size requirements for principal uses. On this slide, I summarize a breakdown of permitted zoning and approval processes for the two most common types of tiny homes. We do want to encourage infill and housing construction, in particular in our innovative overlay zoning districts, which is why we allow site-built and factory-built tiny houses to be constructed administratively. Here is a table showing design standards for tiny home parks, which is a grouping of tiny houses. Density allowances, setbacks, common area requirements vary depending on the overall size of the development. If a park cannot meet any of these standards, for example, if a smaller footprint than 1 acre is proposed, it would be processed as a major conditional use. And final recommendation, we heard concerns from the commission and council regarding compatibility as it relates to square footages of houses. Based on those concerns, we added an additional row to table 501.7, which are property development standards that apply to all single-family residential development in Douglas. The top 8 rows are already in the zoning regulations. If this amendment is to pass without this addition, anything greater than 400 square feet could be permitted. At first reading, we had some additional discussion about these exact numbers, whether the minimums were too small or arbitrary. We did look at a couple additional studies. The first was from the American Institute of Architects, who publishes annual design trend reports. According to report findings, there is a noticeable trend towards smaller homes driven by rising home prices and construction costs. Also, younger home buyers gravitate towards smaller, more manageable homes overall. Secondly, according to a 2020 report from the National Association of Home Builders, a 1-bedroom apartment of 600 to 800 square feet can adequately accommodate singles, couples, and even small families. A 2-bedroom apartment or a home of 800 to 1,200 square feet can adequately accommodate a smaller family, and again, couples. while 1,200 to 1,800 square feet can accommodate a family within a three-bedroom configuration. So there are pros and cons to regulating a residential building side. The pros being bigger homes can be more comfortable, more uniform in appearance, and are associated with higher property values. On the other hand, some of the cons include what I just mentioned about the smaller home trends. It may discourage smaller households, first-time or lower-income home buyers, and it can be somewhat of a competitive disadvantage with other cities and counties. Regarding that last point, I compared the residential building size requirements proposed for Douglas with the requirements of the county and all other cities within the county. As proposed, Douglas would be roughly in line with the requirements. That was a quick overview. I'm happy to return to any slide. There have been no changes since first reading. Staff recommends approval. The Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommended approval at their regular meetings, which was a public hearing. And on August 12th, this item was approved by Mayor and Council at first reading. That concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you very much. I have a motion regarding the second reading.
Mayor,
Yes, please.
I move that mayor and council approve the second reading of ordinance number 24-1196 by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Shelton to approve the second reading of ordinance number 24-1196 by number and title only. Are there any questions or discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Acosta.
looking at the proposed, minimum lot size, building size, and, based on the resources, the data they gave to us compared to Benson and Wilcox, I would recommend that, maybe we move the 8,000 square foot to 1,000 square foot minimum building size, and so forth, with a 12,000 to 1,200, the 16,000 square footage to 1,200 square foot. And the 32 keypads as is. That's just my opinion, my recommendation.
Mayor, if I may?
Just gonna pull up that slide.
Okay.
Okay.
For us, so we take a look, see. And I think the next one.
It's the next one,
If you could, please. That one.
right here.
Yeah,
Can we-
yes.
Zoom it? For my eyes, anyway. Yes, if there is a desire to modify this to be more aligned with the research done at your request to match more of Benson's, council can identify the change and we can just make the change and approve it with those modifications to Exhibit A. And Exhibit A has this information on page 4, which is a similar table. And that's where I would recommend the modification be made, but it's identical to the information on the top section of this table, where what I heard Councilmember Acosta say was the 8,000 square feet would change from 800 to 1,000. The 12,000 square foot parcels to 12, similar to Benson. And then 16,000 square foot parcels to 1,200 as well. 3 changes, did I get that right?
Yes. What was your amendment?
Ms. McLaughlin, any thoughts on that from your professional experience?
Well, it's honestly up to you. What I have, provided within the memo is what, has shown that National Home Builders says 800 square feet can accommodate a couple. By revising this, you're still staying within the parameters of 800 to 1,200 feet. That's correct. So you're not going outside of what's already permitted within Cochise County. You're not going over and beyond and above what's allowed. So professionally, I recommend kind of staying within those parameters, not being too high or too far outside of what's commonly accepted within the county. That's what people are familiar with. I think those ranges are locally appropriate.
Thank you. Mr. Kiko, do we have any data from building permits that have been taken out last year or this year about what size homes that have been the norm recently?
I don't believe I have a metric readily available for that, for this purpose, unless staff wants to wing it and know what that might be, but I would prefer, an actual metric. I do not have that.
Any other input from the council regarding this particular by Mr. Costa? And we'll go to other items if you have other questions, but we'll try to address this topic right now.
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Montano.
I just have a slight concern. I mean, we're talking about tiny homes, but now we're setting standards that are way above the tiny home realm, I guess. So I don't see us having to increase any of these numbers just because thousand square foot home is a decent size, like she said, for a small family. So why would we say, no, you have an 8,000 square foot lot and now you have to build a 1,000 or 1,200 square foot house? I think we're just going against the tiny home issue, or so that's my concern.
Thank you. Anyone else? I don't want to put Mr. Novo on the spot, but Mr. Novo, as a realtor in town, would you mind coming and offering any thoughts on what you have experienced or what you're seeing and what size homes are being requested in Douglas? No, that's all I asked for. Thank you very much. Mr. McLaughlin, the calculation of square footage of a home, does that include a garage also, or is it just living space?
Typically living space, conditioned space.
Okay, so it could be 1,000 square foot home, living space, and another, I don't even know what size my garage is anymore. 400 square feet garage, which,
40 by,
okay.
40 by 10.
Size.
40 by 10.
Mayor,
Yes, please.
one more point. I believe all those points made are valid. I just would want to clarify that the recommendations to establish even minimums also came at the request of the Planning and Zoning Commission, and they did vote for these unanimously to move forward, but did want to make sure that their comments were noted and that they also felt they were low, which is why we brought up the research and the discussion. And I just wanted to remind that this zoning ordinance for tiny homes has specific areas to allow for tiny homes. And the reason for the minimum set in all of the areas outside of those overlays, which we've discussed in the past, that's where these parameters come in. So I just want to make sure we're clarifying that while we are trying to kind of lead the way for tiny homes in the community, we're also trying to set the tone for certain subdivisions and SFR areas to not be tiny homes. So if that makes sense. So there is kind of a separate concept there, and the minimums are there for a minimum. And I do recall, although I don't have the metrics, just in conversation with staff, and I prefer a metric, is that we generally don't see homes that meet these minimums anyway. They're generally higher. But again, without a metric, I can't really validate that, to your question.
Thank you.
Just wanted to offer that as more information.
Okay, any other comments or questions regarding minimum sizes?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mrs. Acosta.
having listened to all of this, I do agree with, Mr. Acosta, just in that, I think part of this was to try to make sure that our larger homes aren't then, inundated with tiny homes within the different SFR, lots. I mean, it's just a small bump of 200 square feet, up from the current standard, which would match City of Benson's. It makes sense to me just to safeguard, again, our larger single-family home residential areas, which I think that's what this was the whole point of, to make sure that we don't have too many tiny homes in areas where we have larger homes.
Thank you. Mr. Shelton, please.
Now, are we still going to keep the 6,000 square foot and an 800 square foot building? Is that still gonna be in there? That's what I'm asking.
I think except for the 3 changes noted,
Okay.
the rest would remain the same.
So in other words, even our smaller one will be a little bit bigger than what Benson is. So we could keep that in there. That would be what we're shooting for as far as small ones.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any other issues?
Or Mayor,
Yes,
just
please,
a
Mr.
quick
McLean.
question. This table, it's for all homes, right? Not just for tiny homes?
Yeah, for
So-
residential.
So why would we, my question is, why are we changing the requirements? So if you can build a house that for example, in a 8,000 square foot lot, you can build a regular house at 800 square feet. Why are we saying now that it's too small? If it's been like this forever, now we're saying, if you're gonna build a tiny home, you're gonna have to make it 1,000 feet. Or even a regular home, now we're saying it's gotta be a lot higher now, am I getting this right, or am I off base?
No, I don't think you're wrong. I think, part of the issue is we just adopted the building code for this tiny homes, which makes their development a little more feasible. They've gained popularity. In the past, they just weren't really a trend, a thing. They were harder to do without the relaxed standards of Appendix Q of the building code. So I think in the discussion with the commission and then subsequent the council, it just, it came to mind. We've made it this easy, and we recently passed the innovative community overlay districts. That's really, the intent was to direct those type of housings to those locations. So this is another way to do it, actually, because you're having these minimum building size, which would not apply to the innovative community overlays. So they're being directed there, still encouraged.
And for clarification, Ms. McLaughlin, the minimums set without the amendment is a first for us. Correct? Yes, they don't exist currently. That's what I wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
So minimum housing side, this is totally new?
Correct.
Does that answer the question?
We just wanted to have you consider whether you liked the numbers or wanted to up them or tweak a little bit.
Thank you. Mr. Shelton, please.
Yes, the last 6 months, I've heard on the news that this is becoming very common because young couples, are, ones that do not make much money, this is the only way they can get a new home. So, this is a trend our country is starting on right now. So,
Thank you, Mr. Shelton. Would someone like to make a motion to amend that to include those 3 changes?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to
Yes,
amend.
please, Ms. Acosta.
I'll make a motion to amend the three changes as suggested by Councilmember Acosta.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Acosta, and please, Mr. Kiko, please go over those three changes specifically again, please.
Very good. For SFR 6,000, minimum building size 800 square feet. For SFR 8,000, minimum building size 1,000 square feet, I'm sorry. For SFR 12,000 square feet, the minimum building size would be 1,200 square feet. For SFR 16, the minimum building size 1,200 square feet. And SFR 32, minimum building size 1,200 square feet.
That makes sense to everybody? Everybody comfortable
Mayor?
with that explanation?
I have a question.
Yes, please, Mr. Bolanese.
So if we have a lot and there's a home built, so this tiny home could be the same size as the house that's on that property. That's what we're saying here?
Just has to meet the minimum size of what would be implementing with this ordinance. So in other words,
Because we're saying the lot size is 8,000 square feet. So the minimum home size is 800 square feet.
they want to, there's proposing, the amendment is proposing to change that to 1,000.
Where only the tiny home exists there in that
Well,
lot.
No, that's. the
This is
size of the
outside.
home.
Outside tiny homes.
With the home adjacent to that tiny home.
No,
Mayor,
I'm asking.
Councilmember Valdenegro, that there are some other options known as accessory dwelling units that could either be attached or detached to an existing home that are equivalent to what we are calling a tiny home. But a tiny home outside of that would be in our overlay areas and not necessarily in these,
Not in a residential area wherever it exists.
unless there's mixed use allowed in some of the overlay areas.
Thank you.
okay, that good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so we have that amendment on the table right now for consideration. Any other discussion on that? I for one are a little uncomfortable with changing, especially the SFR 12 to 1,200. I understand the concept of trying to protect neighborhoods from smaller homes, and I think this is what we're actually doing. We're not trying to do any other type of requirement. I think it's just the protection of the neighborhood that would do that. But that's the one that concerns me, is the SFR 12, moving that to 1,200, because I'm just thinking back on some of the subdivisions that we have in our community that the majority of their homes are less than 1,200, and they were considered starter homes back in the 50s and 60s. And I know there's more toys and such and technology and stuff that go in homes that may require a little bit larger home, but it concerns me that especially a subdivision that would come in to the area. Ms. McGovern, I hate to put you on the spot also, but do you have any knowledge of new subdivisions in Sierra Vista, or the new subdivision that's being proposed in Benson, of what size homes they're looking at?
Unfortunately, we haven't seen any
Okay.
subdivisions since I've been with the county for many years. We have a lot of old antiquated subdivisions, and there's one, just outside of Douglas, the College Park area, where there are very small lots. It's already, but it's in the county. And those lots are gonna require pretty small homes. when it comes to older plats. Newer plats tend to have larger, lot sizes. And we don't actually approve the homes, those come in later. It'll just show a plat map and the road is.
So am I to understand from that the county does not have minimums?
We do not.
Again, I voiced that concern. I think we're, especially in the smaller lot sizes, I think probably in the majority of our homes in those areas, I wish we had a zoning map available, because I think the majority of those homes are already in that size range. And to have somebody, we're concerned about infill in our community to try to get homes built in lots that are vacant within existing areas. And I think this may discourage those type of development to fill in for that. So I'm concerned about raising these, and also after the Planning and Zoning Commission has looked at it and went over it and felt comfortable with it. So anyone else?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr.
may I make a suggestion? That, instead of raising the other ones, we only raise the 16,000 and 32,000. My concern, like yours, is that we are trying to bring people in, we're trying to build houses, we're trying to fill the need for future housing, putting these minimum requirements on a house. I mean, a 12,000 square foot lot, 1,000 square foot house should be sufficient in my opinion.
Thank you.
My 2 cents.
So your options, Mr. Montano, are to make another motion to amend that, or we'll see how the vote goes, and if it fails, another amendment could be put forward to reflect that. I think those are, Mr. Fitzgibbon, does that sound like?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, you're 100% correct. Councilmember Montano can offer an amendment to Councilman Acosta's motion, and then Councilmember Acosta will have to decide whether to accept the amendment. Or wait, I'm sorry, Councilwoman Acosta made the motion, sorry. And then whoever seconded would have to determine whether they accept the amendment.
Good. Those are the options as it sits right now.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
if Mayor Council would like to move forward with one, then we can do that only next month.
I can't hear what the city clerk said.
And she's mentioning that the tabling could be an option for next month so that we are able to provide the metrics. The goal is to make sure you're comfortable with your decision, that you have what you need. So I would agree that is another option. And tabling would require anything
Okay.
else specific?
Thank you. So that is another option that's available to us.
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mrs. Acosta.
I move that we table this so that we can see a map of where these SFR 6 through 32 lots are within the city of Douglas, and maybe make a better decision that way too.
There's a motion to table this item until the
Wait, Mr. Mayor, wait a second. I think you already have a motion to amend the ordinance in a second. So I think what we'd have to do is withdraw the motion to amend before we go to a motion to table.
Okay, I move to withdraw my motion, my previous.
And then who seconded your motion?
Mr. Shelton second.
No. Richard.
I second.
Okay, so they're willing to withdraw that amendment, and now we have considered the amendment to table until next month,
Until next month,
next regular meeting.
correct.
Second.
There's a motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Shelton to table this item until the regular meeting of October. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Montaño,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro.
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta.
Yes.
Mayor Potempo Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries. Does, and if there's any other clarification or information that anyone of the council and public or public would like to have for discussion for next month, please submit it to Mrs. Urquijo to provide us with the information. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 8C, discussion decision on second reading of ordinance number 24-1197. An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, rezoning a 5.5 acre parcel of land within Geronimo Trail Estates. Well, I guess it's Geronimo Trail Estates, TRC 5.371 AC from single family residential SFR 12,000 SFR 12 to multifamily residential MFR, and amending the official zoning district map, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof. Ms. Gomez, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So Planning and Zoning met on July 16th, and the first reading for Mayor and Council was August 14th, 2024. Both Planning and Zoning recommended approval, and the first reading was a unanimous for the second. The amendment is for a single-family residence 12,000 and SFR 12 to multifamily residential. The parcel is 5.5 acres and is located in Geronimo Trail north of Hohokam Drive. The parcel extends west of the Geronimo Trails, and the general plan supports policies to increase activity in the designated nodes where the multifamily residential proposal is being done. The policy considerations that we were looking for align with the general plan, it being developing higher density residential developments near commercial and employment areas, as well as providing affordable housing with the creation of these apartment complexes. We still don't have a general idea if they're leaning more towards lofts or apartments at the moment, but we do know it would enhance the existing housing stock that is going to be needed when the port of entry is commenced the work. The proposal would also allow for housing diversity, affordability, and allow for sustainable housing community development. And it aligns with existing land use patterns within the area and supports the city's broader goals to enhance housing.
Thank you, Ms. Gomez. May I have a motion regarding the second reading of the ordinance?
Mayor,
Yes, Mrs. Acosta.
I move that mayor and council approve the second reading of ordinance number 24-1197 by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Montaño to approve the second reading of ordinance number 24-1197 by number and title only. Any questions or discussion?
Mayor, I'm
Yes, please, Mrs. Acosta.
I'm just curious, is there a time frame or timeline ballpark of when this development would?
I do know the developer was looking for approval first, before actually submitting something, whether the proposal is looking for funding for apartments or whether it's more of a townhome idea. We would also have to evaluate, depending on where their decision is going towards their funding, the plan sites for it. It's still something we're in talks about. In terms of building, I'm not too sure if it's once approval is passed, and I think that's the direction we're going. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Shelton, please.
Okay, several questions. Number one, I'm glad to see somebody's finally catching on that we better start doing things. And then, number two, where is the builder coming out of it? Douglas or?
Here from Douglas.
Douglas, good.
The developer is Mr. Novoa from Novoa Realty.
Oh, really?
Douglas
Okay.
based, has lived here in Douglas. And he's actually here today.
Okay. Do you have any idea what you're going to build?
Mr. Novoa, if I may, please.
Yeah, would you mind coming to the microphone?
And
so we-
just stand.
Thank you.
There's a condition for the approval of the zone. So once the zoning gets approved, if it gets approved, I should say, then we can actually accelerate and closing on the actual transaction itself. Then we're going into a survey, and engineer to where they can stipulate, kind of kicking around a couple ideas, but I am more than likely trying to push to establish an HOA just because I want to keep everything a little bit in that area. I will be honest, I was about 100-unit apartment complex built, but the money's a little hard right now. I know people believe in Douglas, but because they're looking at the economy, but because they're looking at the economy as a whole, they don't want to dump $5, $6, $7 million in here. So I will say that right now, we're about 90% sure that we're gonna hit townhomes. And so right now, we're gonna barely start the survey. We're gonna try to offer 2 different styles. We're looking in the realms of 1,000 to 1,200 square feet, just to keep it affordable to family. I'm trying to hit I've called around with other lenders and their sweet spot is about $180,000 to $205,000. So we're gonna try to stay in that price range to where actually people can afford houses. Obviously, the interest, if it does go down, it's gonna create more buying power. I don't think prices of houses are gonna come down, but it will create buying power in the sense where they can afford more for less money. But as of right now, I mean, we're still in infant stages, but we are looking at kind of accelerating, getting on the horse. I do have an architect. He's just waiting for me to give the green light. The surveyor is ready, the engineer is ready. They're gonna work hand in hand. So right now, we're looking at obviously trying to utilize obviously the land, but we're trying to make it comfortable too. We're not trying to butt up houses next to each other. You know what I mean? We want to make it to where somebody will be okay living there for a long time, 20, 30 years, but we want it to withstand changes. I mean, I want to try to keep to a couple color schemes just to where it looks all uniform and like a nice area. Obviously, it is a good area, so that's why we're pushing on that. But that's really what we're leaning towards right now. So again, if everything goes well in our favor, then we're gonna really push on it. I want to try to start, hopefully. I actually spoke with a gentleman yesterday about clearing the land and digging, stuff like that. So again, everything's ready. I have to wait for this. We're trying not to spend any unnecessary money until we. And I will say that these partners are from Douglas, so I'm trying to keep it here. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For answering.
Any other questions that you guys have?
Anyone else?
Mayor,
Yes,
I
please,
just
Mr.
want to thank
Montaño.
Mr. Novoa for having the foresight and investing in Douglas. So thank you. That's all.
It's my
Thank you.
hope that I want to, a long time.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Sorry, I actually have
Oh,
a
please.
correction.
I'm sorry.
So we are also looking at a timeline for the AMA for the water assurance. So they still have a 2-year timeline to ensure that they have waters for these apartments for the next 100 years.
And we're voting for that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ms. Gomez. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Montaño,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta.
Yes.
Mayor Potempo Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, motion carries. Item number 8D, discussing decision on second reading of ordinance number 24-1198. An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, to undertake a departmental reorganization affecting the police department, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof. Mr. Kiko, please.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Bringing forward this mini reorganization affecting the animal shelter under the current structure of the Douglas Police Department, where it adds to that hierarchy a coordinator to oversee animal shelter officers, and removes the direct reporting structure into sworn staff. Sworn staff still oversees this as a division of the police department, but we will have a coordinator overseeing staff at the animal shelter as part of our improvement plans for the animal shelter.
Thank you. I have a motion regarding the second reading of the ordinance.
Mayor,
Yes, please. Ms. Morales.
I move that mayor and council approve the second reading of ordinance number 24-1198 by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Morales, second by Mr. Shelton to approve the second reading of ordinance number 24-1198 by number and title only. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Montaño,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 8E, discussion decision on first reading of ordinance number 24-1199. An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, rezoning a 0.15 acre parcel of land within Douglas lots 11 and 12 of block 116 general commercial to multifamily residential MFR, and amending the official zoning district map, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof. Ms. Gomez, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. On August 12th, we had a planning and zoning meeting where they accepted the proposal of a potential rezone on a 0.5 parcel located on lots 11 and 12 on 116 block. It is situated south of 14th Street, east of F Avenue. You might know it, it's next to the Cass, crossing the street of Lilas. The area has been zoned general commercial. The area has many multifamily residence duplexes, triplexes, and single family, even though it's zoned general commercial. The rezone was for the property owner to implement three apartment complexes within the area. And this is to utilize the existing infrastructure that's already in place. And it's also consistent with the general plan. It supports a mixed use of housing types and residential infill through the city. It also advocates for higher density residential developments near commercial areas. And it's also going to offer affordable housing. The rezone also aligns with objectives with housing diversity, affordability throughout the community, and it's going to be using an existing building that has similar land use around it.
Thank you, Ms. Gomez. May I have a motion regarding the placement of the ordinance?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mrs.
I move
Acosta.
that mayor and council approve the placement of ordinance number 24-1199 on its first reading by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Baldanegro to approve the placement of ordinance number 24-1199 on its first reading by number and title only. Any questions or discussion? As you can see by these rezoning items, get ready, because as things progress in our community, this is gonna be a regular council meeting agenda item. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Montaño,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro.
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta.
This is F.
Mayor
This
Pro
is
Tempore
15th
Morales.
Street. I
Yes.
think it is
Mr.
somewhat
Mayor?
behind.
Yes, motion carries.
An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, rezoning a 0.15 acre parcel of land within Douglas lots 11 and 12 in block 116, general commercial and GC to multifamily residential MFR, and amending the official zoning district map, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof.
Thank you. May I have a motion regarding the approval of the first reading?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mrs. Acosta.
I move that mayor and council approve the first reading of ordinance number 24-1199 and place it by its second reading by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Balanego to approve the first reading of ordinance number 24-1199 and place it on second reading by number and title only. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Councilmember Montaño,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries.
An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, rezoning a 8.15 acre parcel of land within Douglas lots 11 and 12 in block 116, general commercial GC to multifamily residential MFR, and amending the official zoning district map, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof.
Thank you. Item number 8F, discussion decision on resolution number 24-1621. A resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the city of Douglas to enter into a grant agreement with the Best Friends Animal Society for the provision of an interim manager of animal services at the Douglas Animal Shelter. Chief Fuller, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. The Best Friends Animal Society has a grant-funded shelter embed program, which allows for a Best Friends employee to be embedded at the shelter facilities across the nation with the goal of increasing live outcomes for sheltered animals to a level of 90% and ultimately reducing the number of animals that are otherwise euthanized. The Best Friends Animal Society has an exceptional reputation for promoting animal welfare, implementation of proven practices that reduce shelter capacity, shorten length of stay at the shelter, improve efficiencies, and promote live outcomes for shelter pets. The proposed embed program is offered for a period of 6 months with the ability to extend on a monthly basis with mutual written agreement of both parties. This program aligns the right talent with the term of stay to ensure the sustainability of the programs at the conclusion of the term. And the provision of this interim manager is at no cost to the city. So the benefits are the ability to utilize talented and knowledgeable resource from outside of the organization to help facilitate transformational changes within the organization, ability to provide training and ongoing support for city staff, access to other Best Friends resources and expertise via the Best Friends staff person on site, and then operational improvements that will increase life-saving within the organization and improve reputation in the community, while also increasing community engagement and support. And just by way of the item that council just approved for the coordinator position, the embed program person would be basically mentoring that position, that person, so that they are trained on site, and once the embed program person leaves, all of the programs continue forward. And I also have, I believe, Mr. Scott Giacopo with Best Friends. He's the director of the National Support, Shelter Support online in case you have any questions for him.
Thank you, Mr. Giacopo, for being with us. May I have a motion regarding the resolution?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mrs. Acosta.
I move that mayor and council approve resolution number 24-1621.
Is there a second? Motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Baldonado to approve resolution number 24-1621. Any questions or discussion?
What happens to the animals after 6 months? I mean, it says here, for a period of 6 months, after that, what happens with those animals? Does it go to another facility, or do we extend that?
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Baldenegro, just for clarification, the purpose of the position is to come and implement programs that we either have in place now, a majority of programs that we do not, to facilitate live outcomes for the animals. So the programs that we implement during that program and thereafter don't really affect the term of stay for the animals. The programs that they will bring into us are ideally to limit the stay of animals in the shelter, to get those animals either adopted, rescued, or find their forever homes and reduce the euthanasia rate that we experience currently.
Right.
So once the program position leaves, the idea with them training our shelter coordinator is that whatever good we've made and whatever progress we made doesn't revert back to what it was.
Thank you. Does that answer your question? Ms.
Yes.
Guarino? Mr. Giacopo, do you have anything to add to that?
No, sir, thank you. Basically what the program entails is just us physically relocating an expert in shelter operations to the city of Douglas for a period of 6 months. And during that 6-month time period, as the chief mentioned, we would be implementing programs that are proven nationwide to decrease the length of stay for animals, increase the live outcomes, increase adoptions, foster community support, transports, bringing your current save rate, which is around 50% save rate, up to 90 and above.
Thank you very much. Mr. Shelton, please.
Yeah, okay, couple of things. Will the animals then stay in Douglas?
Mr. Shelton, Mr. Mayor, the idea is to really implement an adoption program because we don't have one to speak of presently. While we do adopt a number of animals out of the shelter, there's opportunity to improve that program. And we're looking at the resources, the knowledge that this program brings to this to help us build that adoption program. By way of an example, one of the practices that they have is foster to adopt. So if somebody has a stray animal that wandered into their yard and they want to turn them over to the shelter, what we would do in turn would be to ask them to please foster that animal. And we would work with them to advertise the animal on social media in the hope that we would reconnect them with their owner from wherever they strayed. And then barring any, reclamation by the owner, we would move to have the animal adopted to where the animal goes directly from the foster parent to their forever home. And what we found through their program, what Best Friends has found through their program is you have a mix of a lot of people that are willing to be fosters and take some of the burden away from the shelter. But you also have a mix of people that start out as fosters and eventually become adopters because now they have a connection with the animal. And what we do in support of that is we can provide some of the food, some of the vaccines, some of the other things that come with pet ownership to help them be that foster for us. So it's kind of a mutual symbiotic relationship.
The reason I asked that question last night after the news, right at the end of it, it said there's 6 puppies from Douglas that are going to be out for adoption, and it wasn't a Douglas number, it was a Tucson number. And so I thought, well, maybe they were going to do something like that too. So that's why I asked that.
And Mr. Shelton, Mr. Mayor, that is the point, is that we are looking to expand live outcomes for those animals. So that's through fostering, that's also through rescues. We continue to have partnerships with various rescues, including the Humane Society in Tucson, where we do transfer animals that no one else has reclaimed or has had interest in adopting, getting them to a different community where they might have a chance to be adopted.
Okay, now one last question. Do you think it's a possibility we might have a new veterinarian coming?
Mr. Mayor, Council Member Shelton, we're in discussions with possibly having a vet on record.
Okay.
Outside of that, a little closer to home.
I know, we won't say who it is. Okay.
A little closer to home, I do have a daughter that just started vet school, so
Okay.
we'll see how that goes.
Which university?
University of Arizona.
Oh, that's right. They have the program now. They just started it. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Daniel?
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta?
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton?
Yes.
Councilmember Benedicto?
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Giacopo, for.
Thank you
providing
very
this service.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council and chief. We will be in touch soon, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Item
you.
number 8G, discussion decision on resolution number 24-1622, a resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, approving and authorizing the submission to HUD of the City of Douglas Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, CAPER, for fiscal year 2023-24. Ms. Gonzalez, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. So HUD requires that all CDBG grantees comply with reporting requirements of the grant. As part of those reporting requirements, the city of Douglas must submit an annual performance report describing the city's development accomplishments for the fiscal year with a special focus on activities funded by CDBG entitlement funds. The draft report was made available for a 15-day public review and comment period to comply with CDBG regulations from August 26, 2024 to September 10, 2024. The public was also given an opportunity to comment on the CAPER at a public hearing held tonight prior to this meeting.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion regarding the resolution, please?
Mayor,
Yes, Mrs. Acosta.
I move that mayor and council approve resolution number 24-1622.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Baldenegro to approve resolution number 24-1622. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Montaño,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Baldenegro.
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, motion carries. Item number 8H, discussing decision on resolution number 24-1623. A resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing an amended lease agreement for individual T hangars located within the Douglas Municipal Airport with parcel number 410-01-005 and granting the city manager authorization to execute 12-month lease agreements with individual tenants for aviation purposes, establishing severability of components of resolution and establishing an effective date thereof. Mr. Pedrosa, please.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and members of council. Staff is seeking an amendment to the established T-hanger lease agreement that allows tenants to make modifications to the space with city approval. The lease remains the same, and that includes the rates. The proposed amendment is to add section 9.2, which allows tenants to make modifications within the T-hanger with approval by the city and at the tenant's expense. In addition, the tenant is responsible for restoring back to its original state before tenant vacates the property. A new tenant requested that since an aircraft does not fit into the existing T-hanger, and in order to be able to fit, the tenant proposed modifications to the T-hanger space that would entail removing some paneling to provide the sufficient room. This process allows for an orderly process that is not impacting to the city and can be reviewed if appropriate on a case-by-case basis. The newly amended lease agreement allows the city manager to execute the individual leases under the prescribed terms with each individual tenant.
Thank you. May I have a motion regarding the resolution, please?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Shelton.
I move the mayor and council approve resolution number 24-1623.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shelton, second by Mrs. Morales to approve resolution number 24-1623. Any questions or discussion?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Baldenegro.
do we have land, sufficient land there to build bigger hangars?
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Councilmember Baldenegro, yes, in fact, in our airport layout plan, we have designated space to build out future T-hangars. So that's within our master plan for the airport. So certainly larger spaces for these larger jets would be appropriate.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please, Ms. Morales.
I was wondering if maybe Mrs. Urquijo could share the picture that she shared with us on the one-on-ones as to why we need this resolution passed.
Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Morales, let me see if we can get that.
You kind of show everybody with my nose. You want me to do that?
I have a question for you too.
Yes,
Mr.
Mr. Bonegro, please.
Mr. Perosa,
Yes.
how long would it take to build the hangar? In case we had to build one for this individual instead of just mocking it, having the tenants do modifications to their hangar.
Mr. Valdenegro, it would require some investment. I don't have a timeline. You'd need to build an apron, a taxiway into that apron as well. But the important thing about putting it into our planning document is that we can request grant funds through our 5-year plan that we submit every year to ADOT Aeronautics. And we can start planning, we can start the design of that section. And I also want to recall that we're still in negotiations with JW Resources who want to buy the land around it. And one of the aspects of their development includes the building of more hangar space as well. So besides individual hangar homes, they would like to build more hangar space as well.
Any other questions or comments?
If you're not able, Mrs. Rijo, that's fine.
What's up?
Ms. Urquijo, I don't know if it'll work if you hold the phone up to the camera.
It's fine. Don't worry about it, Mrs. Rijo.
Yeah, Margaret's keeping us here.
I know, I'm sorry.
There you go. There's the picture.
Hey, there it is right there.
He's just loading it up.
Looks like a rocket, no pressure.
Thank you. Just a minute.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments, Ms. Morales?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Montaño,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro.
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta.
Yes.
Mayor Potempo Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 8I, discussion decision on resolution number 24-1624. A resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, approving the acceptance of grant funding in the amount of $30,000 from the Arizona Office of Tourism for the Visit Arizona Initiative Legacy Golf Course Revitalization Grant. Ms. Villalobos, please.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. The city of Douglas applied to the Arizona Office of Tourism for the Visit Arizona Initiative Legacy Golf Course Revitalization Grant for funding to automate the irrigation system at the Douglas Municipal Golf Course. An assessment conducted by Troon Golf Course Consultants in August of 2022 provided an in-depth report after a site visit, along with key findings and recommendations. One of those recommendations is the full automation of the irrigation system. After a careful inspection of the operations and maintenance of the course, the consultant determined the current irrigation system to be outdated and in need of replacement. The consultant provided an estimate for pricing of the automation as well as a phased approach to achieving that automation. The Douglas Municipal Golf Course Irrigation Rejuvenation Project is a 3-phase project where electrical upgrades along with infrastructure upgrades will be combined to automate the golf course. Staff recommends approval, and I can take any questions if there are.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion regarding the resolution, please?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Ms. Morales.
I move that mayor and council approve resolution number 24-1624.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Morales, second by Mrs. Acosta to approve resolution number 24-1624. Any questions, comments? I have one as far as timeline for this in conjunction with the evaluation that was recently done with the golf course.
Mayor, members of the council, that's a great question. So we also have alongside this a golf master plan underway that's looking at irrigation infrastructure. This grant is for automation of irrigation. So we're working from two different perspectives here. We have a meeting tomorrow with the architect to see their first run and recommendation for irrigation replacement. It is a major infrastructure overhaul, considering the condition of the underground infrastructure, not just sprinkler heads, but also pipe beneath the earth. So this will couple and align perfectly when we're ready to upgrade what we call our Rainbird system to automate all of the pieces together.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Montaño,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, motion carries. Item number 8J, discussing decision on resolution number 24-1625. A resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the acceptance of grant funding in the amount of $750,000 from the National Park Service under the Save America's Treasures Program for the restoration of the Douglas Municipal Airport hangar. Ms. Villalobos, please.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. The city of Douglas applied to the National Park Service for the Save America's Treasures program for the restoration of the airport runway initially. But we are going to use this funding for the large airport hangar. The Douglas Municipal Airport is an important part of our community's heritage, representing a pivotal era in aviation history. Preserving this structure is critical to maintaining our cultural and historical identity. The National Park Service has also recognized the value of this project and has awarded the city of Douglas a $750,000 grant. This funding will enable the city to undertake necessary restoration work to preserve the hangar's historical features and ensure its continued use.
Thank you. May I have a motion regarding the resolution?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mrs. Costa.
I move that mayor and council approve resolution number 24-1625.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Shelton to approve resolution number 24-1625. Any questions or comments?
Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Valdenegro.
do we have any pictures of the hangar, on the condition of the hangar right now, so we can see what restoration really, I mean, we're looking at everything, right, from roof, sides, electrical, plumbing.
We are looking at whatever
Pictures right
the
out there?
grant will allow.
I'm sorry.
We're looking at whatever the grant will allow, because it is a historic resource. They have a lot of oversight on what we can and can't do. So as long as we're maintaining the historical resource, then it would be allowed, but it has to be very similar, if not identical, to what it originally looked like.
And Mayor, Councilmember Valdenegro, also, we will be bringing in an architect that specializes in restoration of historic hangars. And as that evolves, we're happy to come back and give you an update on current conditions and types of things that will need to be remedied as part of the grant. And then, as Villalobos stated, the restrictions we have because it is historic.
Thank you. Anything else? Do we know if it would allow for a mural type thing to depict this historic nature of the airport and such? Do
Can
we
you
know
clarify
that
what you mean
detail
by
yet?
that? You mean a mural on the actual hanger?
On the actual hangar, like to put Eleanor Roosevelt on there, Amelia Earhart, et cetera, of those that have historic
Connection to. Douglas.
connection to this. to the
I can
airport.
ask the grant manager. I don't know if it's allowable, but I can definitely check and follow up.
I think that would enhance, and I think it would be exciting to express that history of the airport in that area.
Great idea. We will check.
Any other questions or comments? Mr. Shelton, please.
Also, we can ask for a grant for historical purposes for, the museum that we have. And so, not only from them, but other people that are into aviation. We can get, like the pictures and more of the history of it, and that's something we need to discuss. That way, when, people from New York or Minnesota, they can come to Douglas and they can see the museum and Amelia Earhart and, Eleanor Roosevelt that was here that dedicated. So,
Thank you, Mr. Shelton. Anyone else?
exactly.
Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Montaño?
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta?
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton?
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro?
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta?
Yes.
Mayor Potempo Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, motion carries. Item number 8K, discussion decision on termination of land lease agreement with Barnard Inc. Incorporated at the Douglas Municipal Airport. Mr. Pedrosa, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. The city, as you recall, the city executed a land lease agreement with Barnard Inc. Those were, are the ones working at the border wall at the Douglas Municipal Airport effective January 1, 2024 for 12 months. Barnard is requesting early termination of the lease as a result of their federal contract getting canceled. Barnard Inc. was not able to do any of the work within their federal contract as a result of federal litigation over their work to construct the complementary assets around the border wall that included roadways, electrical, and communications equipment. As a result, Barnard has begun vacating, and I believe at this point has fully vacated the premises and has requested an early termination of its lease effective September 15th of this year. Barnard expressed that they could return if they were contracted again to finish the work. Barnard will be leaving behind a temporary fence, the water infrastructure, and the new access gate that they installed. And for your consideration is the termination agreement. The city did collect 9.5 months of rent of $18,000 per month.
Thank you, Mr. Pedrosa. May I have a motion regarding this item?
Mayor,
Yes, Mrs. Acosta, please.
I move that mayor and council approve the termination of the land lease agreement with Barnard Inc. at the Douglas Municipal Airport.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Valdenegro to approve the termination of the lease agreement. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Montaño?
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta?
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton?
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro?
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta?
Yes.
Mayor Potempo Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, motion carries. Item number 8L, discussion decision on execution of donation acceptance agreement for the donation of 80 acres to General Services Administration, GSA, for the construction of new commercial port of entry. Mr. Pedrosa, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. As you know, this has been a long process to donate 80 acres to the federal government for the location of the new commercial port of entry. In your packets, it's a memo that has been, this is actually the third time we bring this item due to revisions from GSA. We first brought it to you in October 12th, 2022. The second update was August 9th, 2023. We think this third time is a charm here, and we'll get it approved this time to actually execute the final donation acceptance agreement for the 80 acres for the construction of the new commercial port. So I'll go through this memo. This action is to ratify the recent changes proposed by GSA for the agreement. After city council's approval to execute the agreement in November of 2022 and consequential approval of a then updated agreement in August of 2023, GSA did not execute the agreement, citing that they needed more assurances that the connector road from the POE to SR 80 would be constructed. As a result, GSA City and County worked with ADOT to devise a plan for the funding necessary for this road. Since the latest estimate, the road construction is estimated at about $80 million. Therefore, the city added its support by pledging $8.2 million from the grant received from the state. Cochise County also applied for and received $5 million in SMART grant from the state for the design and applied for a $43 million MPDG grant. ADOT is also pushing a congressional directed spending amount of $20 million and has also placed the road in the 5-year plan with some funding and the rest pending the grant funding mentioned. GSA wanted the assurance from ADOT that the road would be built. However, ADOT is not able to provide a full assurance at this time due to their policies requiring the final design concept report, or DCR, which ensures the project is feasible. The DCR is expected to be finalized in February of 2025. And we have our next public hearing looking to be scheduled around October 30th. That should be the final one for this process. ADOT is committed to this project, but cannot guarantee the process until all funding is secured. Due to the uncertainties involved in the large investment of more than 400 million, GSA added assurance language to the DAA. The additional language since the update includes change the date to the delivery of temporary utilities to October 31st instead of March 31 of 2024. This was because we've just kind of prolonged the execution of the agreement. So we expect to finalize the delivery of the temporary utilities by that date. And the last piece missing is the electrical piece, and APS is expected to extend that electric as soon as it receives the easement agreement from U.S. Fish and Wildlife. Actually, Cochise County delivered this easement today to APS, so it's just that one easement pending. GSA also added the following language, and I quote, if ADOT fails to commence construction of James Ranch Road Connector Road by June 30th of 2026, GSA will notify the donor in writing of its determination that ADOT has not secured funding or has failed to act if funding is available, and donor will construct the James Ranch Road Connector Road to then current Cochise County design standards. Donor will use best efforts to deliver the James Ranch Road Connector Road no later than May 31, 2028. End quote. Basically, the city will take responsibility of building the roadway if ADOT does not. The city is confident that ADOT will continue to pursue the funding, and if not all funding is obtained, ADOT will build the road in phases. As an example, they would build a 3-lane roadway instead of a 5-lane roadway if it were to receive only partial funding. However, the commitment to build an important roadway like this is great, and the city is in communication with the county to partner if the road responsibility would, in that rare case, come to the city. The difference in building a roadway to county standards as opposed to ADOT standards is obviously cost. Therefore, the city and the county could build a functional roadway, just not to those ADOT standards. Lastly, the other change was the removal of paragraph in section 4 that would revert the property back to the city if the POE is not constructed within 8 years. It also stated that the reversion clause would go away once the design contract was issued. Due to that contract scheduled to be awarded this month in September, and section 11 that allows if the closing of the property does not occur within 2026, the agreement would be terminated. City staff agrees that this change is non-impact to the project. So those are the basic three changes to this DAA, Mayor, and staff again recommends the final execution of this donation acceptance agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Pedrosa. May I have a motion regarding, yes, Mrs. Morales, please? Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Shelton, Mayor, Mrs. Acosta, please.
I move that mayor and council approve the execution of donation acceptance agreement for the donation of 80 acres to General Services Administration for the construction of a new commercial port of entry.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Shelton to approve the execution of the donation acceptance agreement. Any questions or discussion? I'd like to, I know it's past our bedtime, but I'd like to add recently I was able to watch a hearing that Senator Kelly sits on regarding, they were questioning the head of the General Service Administration. And he questioned directly about the project of the commercial port of entry and the modernization of the Raul Castro Port of Entry. And the director of GSA specifically stated that the anticipation is that construction will start in September of 2025. It's a 3-year completion, and that's why you see those dates that Mr. Pedrosa said to us, want the road done by May 21st of 2028. That's just before they're projected to be complete. The director of GSA also mentioned that the start of the modernization of Raul Castro would commence in January of 2026 and also be a 3-year completion project. So there is some minor risks associated with approving this based on GSA, but we've come a long way, and I think everybody's in line now that this will, I don't want to jinx it by saying it'll come off smoothly, but it appears that everything is in line for the funding and to make sure that it happens in a timely manner. So I feel good about it.
Mayor, if I may add, GSA has requested that we work with them on a celebratory transition for this donation in during the month of December. We're working on their availability, and I will let you all know as soon as that is confirmed.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Montaño.
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta.
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton.
Yes.
Councilmember Montenegro.
Yes.
Councilmember Richard Acosta.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tempore Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 9, city manager report. Mrs. O'Keefe, please.
Yes, community calendar events. Our library, as always, has great activities for our community. The University of Arizona Center for Creative Photography pop-up exhibition, the Luis Carlos Bernal Retrospectiva, will be on public display in the main library at no charge until September 28th. The exhibit includes many photographs taken during Bernal's time in Douglas. A free fall paint night with all supplies included is scheduled for Friday, the 20th of September at 5 p.m. Advanced registration is required at the circulation desk for this event. The Douglas Chess Club, sponsored by Cochise Chess, will meet on the 2nd and 4th Tuesday, September 10th and 24th at 3:30. All ages invited, and this is also free of charge. Starting on Tuesday, the 24th, students from Cochise Colleges will once again offer free after-school tutoring services. Such a great program. Middle school students and elementary students who need extra help with math, science, reading, and writing, I encourage you to come by and register. These are available Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays from 3 to 6 p.m. and Fridays from 3 to 5. On Tuesday, September 24th at 6 p.m., the Douglas Library Book Club will meet to discuss Liliana's Invincible Summer by Cristina Rivera Garza. Other September events include Library Card Sign-Up Month, Hispanic Heritage Month, and Banned Books Week. Of course, we also already stated with some of the mayor's comments, our Cochise College Founders Day for September 19th. Of course, our Energize Douglas this Friday. great activities happening downtown. The city special events division is also hosting a beer booth to benefit Hometown Hero Downtown Banner Program. And we also have coming up a art workshop through our recreation programs, glass painting, September 12th, 6 p.m., Raul Castro Park. We have shut down our municipal pool due to just school starting, weather changing, and open swim operations have moved to the aquatic center. And we will start working on completion of some additional phases at the Veterans Pool. The county fair is celebrating their centennial event, September 25th through the 29th. Their 100-year milestone. Join us for all of those festivities. Also, Mexican Baseball Fiesta is back Wednesday, October 2nd, Copper King Stadium, gates open 5:30, games start at 7. Pre-sale tickets are available with recreation staff beginning September 3rd at the Aquatic Center. Box seats are $15, general seat $12. Curious Quails, a free community event, will be held Saturday, September 21st from 9 to 10:30 at Airport Park near the Boulder Air Museum. There will be activity stations and games and a trail walk and community table. Also from the city clerk's office, an announcement that the general plan publicity pamphlet for the November 5th general election will be sent to all households after September 23rd. The information regarding the general plan is included in English and Spanish. For any questions, please reach out to the city clerk's office, 520-417-7302. We do have a planning and zoning commission meeting here at City Hall Council Chambers on Thursday, September 19th. A special use permit request for a sign at Loretto Catholic School. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Urquijo. Item number 10, additional items and reports from council and future agenda item requests.
Major, Mayor,
Yes, please, Mr. Bolanero.
I was hoping that maybe we can purchase a drone. We can take pictures of the areas that we want. That way we have pictures, not diagrams of properties or whatever we want to visualize. Because I think a picture instead of something like this would be better for us.
Thank you. I don't know if it'd be whatever the economics are of contracting someone, getting our own, whatever. I think that's worth looking into. Thank you,
Very
Mr.
good.
Bolanero.
Thank you.
We can also film downtown Douglas for like for our visitors. center.
You do that. You can also spy on
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, we can do that too. Huh?
Just kidding. Holy cow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Just kidding. Yeah. Close, blackout blinds in my house. Okay. Anyone else? As you can see, we've been here too long today. Now we'll move on to item number 11, adjournment. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Morales.
I move to adjourn our meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Morales, second by Mr. Shelton to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by nay? The ayes have it. We stand adjourned at 7:44 PM.
Have a good evening, Dennis. Thank you.
All right.